Happy Monday, everybody. Let's take a look at the waiver wire and figure out what is up with Luis Giolito and Dylan Bundy. We'll do it next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Monday, May 17th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White, and let's get things started with Corey Seager, who actually will not require surgery, but he suffered a fracture to the 5th metacarpal on his right hand this weekend, so he's going to be out for the next 4 weeks. If you need a shortstop replacement, Scott, who is your favorite of this group? Gavin Lux, Josh Rojas, and Brandon Crawford.
Well, of my group, I would say it's Josh Rojas, who I think is the most widely rostered of them, and has really gotten the season back on track after a terrible start to the first couple weeks of April. But my favorite you actually didn't mention, it's Nico Hoerner, who's fresh off the IL, had I think the minimum stint for a strained forearm, and he was showing signs of a breakthrough before going on it. A lot of extra base hits. He showed some power this spring. Can steal bases, good plate discipline. I think Nico Hoerner might be the complete package, and he's available in more than half of CBS sports leagues.
Yep, Nico Hoerner, the name there. Go out and get him if you need a replacement for Corey Seager. How about some waiver wire starting pitchers who performed well from this past weekend? These are names that are rostered in less than 60% of CBS leagues. Brady Singer this weekend had 7 strikeouts over 6 1/3. He's going up against the Tigers this week. Shane McClanahan picked up his first win against the Mets. He is 58% rostered. He is at the Blue Jays this week down in Dunedin, Florida. Griffin Canning was at the Red Sox this weekend, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, and he is going up against the Twins. Luis Garcia, the old faithful. He's performed very well for us this year, Scott. 5 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. He is at the Rangers this week. Garcia, Canning, McClanahan, Singer. Who's your favorite?
Well, if you're just talking about for the upcoming week, Singer with that matchup against the Tigers, that would probably be the one I'd look toward. But if you're talking about, okay, I like this guy's upside for the rest of the season, Shane McClanahan going beyond 4 innings in this most recent start, beyond 5 innings even. He went 5 1/3 when his first 3 starts were all just 4, and you wondered if the Rays were going to use him like a conventional starter or anything close to it. There's a lot of upside there for McClanahan if they're willing to do that. I also like Luis Garcia of the Astros a lot too, and the fact that Jose Urquidy's now on the IL, even with Framber Valdez gearing up to return, it tells me there's going to be a spot available for Luis Garcia in the Astros rotation.
Yeah, McClanahan is the guy for me as well. A lot of names to like here, Scott, but guy throws nearly 100 miles per hour as a southpaw, and the pitch count has got up over the last 2 starts, 75 and 80 pitches respectively during that span. So I do like what I've seen from Shane McClanahan. He's got a 17% swinging strike rate so far this season. Let's go to the other side, Scott, and some pitchers that struggled this weekend. Dylan Bundy has struggled basically all season long. He's allowed 5+ runs in 3 of his last 5 starts. The ERA is up to 6.02. What is going on with Dylan Bundy, and would you feel okay starting him this week at home against the Twins?
Well, it's funny that you say he struggled all season long because 5 of his first 6 starts, I think, were quality starts. But yeah, a couple clunkers here, and all of a sudden the ERA is over 6. You look at the expected stats, though, the xFIP is around 380. It's just a little bit higher than it was last year. The xERA, which is the StatCast measure, it's closer to like 3.5. And I think that's where Bundy's going to wind up, mid-3s. Last year, he was low 3s, but he had some good home run luck. I don't really see it doesn't really look like the skills have eroded since then. If anything, fastball's harder. The spin rate is up on all of his pitches. I think Bundy's going to be fine. Just a little bit of a rough patch here. Against the Twins, it's kind of a shaky matchup. Depends what else you have, but I wouldn't necessarily be scared to start Bundy.
How about Luis Giolito, who at the Royals on Friday allowed 5 runs over 6 innings? The ERA now up to 4.97. A lot of people drafted Giolito either in the second or the third round, maybe even as their SP1 this season. What is going on with Giolito, and would you trust starting him this week against I will get that matchup for you in just a second, but what's going on with Giolito?
Yeah, I would start him, actually. I don't have many concerns about Giolito at all. I mean, you could dig into the different pitches, say this one's working a little better, this one's working worse, but the bottom line is he's still missing a ton of bats. And I think it's just kind of the ebb and flow of the season. Even his breakout came in what was it, 2018, 2019. He had a breakout. But that year and even last year, 2020, as short as it was, he had stretches where he just wasn't totally locked in. We're 8 starts into this season. He had an 8-start stretch with an ERA. In 2019, he had an 8-start stretch with an ERA of 5.70. And so, having an ERA in the high 4s right now compared to that doesn't seem so bad. I think the skills are intact, and he'll get on a roll here soon enough.
The matchup, like Dylan Bundy, is actually at the Twins. Scott, you feel okay starting him there?
Again, tough matchup. But I feel better about Giolito than I do even Bundy. So I'd start him.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.